I think the climate on this campus is very, let's say, avoidance. Like, it's a lot of avoid, and it's a lot of let's put it off until it gets so severe that we address it with the email.
I mean, no one, when you come here, is going to force you to be educated about these issues. No one's going to force you to learn about LGBTQ identities or race issues or anything like that.
I tend to look instinctively behind me every time I have people walking behind me because I'm never really sure who identifies me as trans and who identifies that as a negative thing.
Here at UConn, I've been walking down the street and had cars of men come up to me and just like slow down and scream like faggot out the window. And I'm not sure if that has to do with my gender expression or my sexuality, because obviously they were in a car. I don't think they knew who I was.
In general, about trans people, everyone seems to think that it's all about surgery. And when I divulge my trans status to people, a lot of times that's the first thing they ask.
I mean, I want to generally think that there are a lot of really great, well-intentioned, educated people on this campus, but I think obviously we can see that that's not, like when you look at the community holistically, that's not the case.
Susan addresses things with the email, and people forget about it in a week's time. I commonly tell people that I have 3 strikes against me already. I am African American, I'm woman, and I'm of the LGBT community. So I commonly tell people, like, I've lived 3 different lives and seen it from 3 different perspectives.
The past year or so of me transitioning and kind of coming into this white male privilege and being seen differently by people and being treated differently by people has really helped me understand that my experience is not representative of everyone's.
Throughout my first semester, I kind of came out to people little by little, and then right before I left for my study abroad, like literally right before I left for my study abroad, I came out to my family, and then I left the country.
I stopped kind of fitting this stereotype of like feminine, straight woman, like, you know, and I think that for a lot of people, like that just kind of throws them through a loop, which is sad, but like reality.
Some people were more shocked than others, but it was more just I had a good support system. I was just afraid of coming out because of the struggles that I would face, that I have faced now coming out, being the gay innovator, the gay entrepreneur, the gay engineer, and having that stigmatized with you.
There's a lot of confusion between what gender and sexuality and discrimination for one and how it's like handled the other way. A lot of people don't understand the difference between transgender, and I heard people associate that as a sexuality, and that's completely different.
I mean, on the one hand, UConn has a lot of resources that other schools don't have. They have LGBT organizations and they have LGBT support groups, and I think that's really wonderful. However, on the other hand, homophobia, transphobia, like anti-LGBT sentiment is still an issue that I think needs to be addressed on every campus, and I think UConn is no different.
Even if you have all the support in the world and the best cultural centers in the country and, you know, the most welcoming community in the world, you're still not going to feel safe if people still feel like they can walk all over you because your administration pretty much says that's okay.
I think one glaring issue that I see with this campus is there's just not a lot of dialogue and not a lot of relationship between the administration and the students. And I've sat down with staff and I've sat down with administrators who I feel like oftentimes are just surprised by the things that people have to say, which seem pretty common knowledge, like pretty basic to us. Like, we feel this way, and they're like, oh, really? Like, yeah, like, I don't know.
The platform that we get as students is simply speaking our piece. It's revolt, it's a change in the civil climate that's here on campus. But if anything goes further, it's always going to have to be faculty that takes it to the next level. So when you have the faculty behind you to start, that pushes the administration to move quicker. Once the faculty is behind you and the administration starts moving, then we actually start to see change on this campus.